Good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, January 3rd, 2024. My name is Sam Shalhoub, and it's time for your daily dispatch. Today's dispatch brought to you by MyPillow. Go to mypillow.com, enter in the discount code SAM, and get up to 80% off of all of your purchases. Now, to the news. There's a gentleman on CNBC by the name of Jim Cramer. I'm sure most of you are familiar with him. And he's been a staunch adversary of Bitcoin. He goes back and forth on cryptos, but what he's come out recently and said is that you can't kill Bitcoin, it's here to stay. So that gives me a little bit of concern because he's usually wrong. But it's either he's wrong or he's starting to come around to what most of us have been thinking specifically about Bitcoin. So we've had a lot of reports about earthquakes. We talked about Iceland a few weeks ago. We talked about Japan yesterday. Well, another one, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake shook Azalea province of Morocco. And then there were other reports in Washington, D.C. of a 1.7 magnitude earthquake. Interesting number, interesting location. But so many more of these so-called natural events, well, they may not be also natural. And then we have the BRICS Association. We've talked a lot about this. They're coming out with a precious metal-backed currency. They are doing, so many of the countries are joining them. 80% of the oil-producing countries, I believe, have joined them now. Well, it's official. Saudi Arabia officially joined the BRICS bloc. Interesting development there. According to Disclosed TV, Harvard president Claudine Gay resigned. It was the shortest tenure in the university's history at Harvard. I don't see how these people don't see what they're doing. I'm sure they do, and I'm sure that they're receiving some sort of payment for taking the stance that they have, but she's gone. According to reports, and there are several of them, the national debt yesterday surpassed $34 trillion for the first time ever. We all know it's unsustainable. We all know that there was a series of events that took place back in February of 2020 regarding the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve, and all of that is coming home to roost now, which I personally believe is probably not a bad thing. I think we've got much more going on behind the scenes than people realize. And if you'll remember, a few months ago, we did a whole week's segment of the U.S. debt clock. Well, I would encourage you to take a look at it again. There's a lot of information coming out right now. And I, for one, think that's a good thing. According to the General, Representative Bill Johnson submitted his letter of resignation yesterday to the House of Representatives, effective January 21st. How many people now have decided they're not going to run for re-election, politicians that is? How many have retired? How many are stepping down? Also, pay attention to the CEOs of corporations that seem to be deciding to move on to greener pastures. Well, it's not coincidence in my opinion. According to Disclosed TV, the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals struck down a petition to reinstate the natural gas ban in Berkeley, California. Biden's administration, and I use that term loosely, asked the court to reinstate the ban, and it's been denied. It's so obvious and it's so blatant. These people have it's so interesting that they've been able to try and take these attacks when they know it's not going to fly, ultimately, but there they go again. And that was a win for us, by the way. And then finally today, according to leading report, the election integrity group True the Vote defeated Stacey Abrams and the Biden DOJ in a landmark election case after a federal judge ruled it did not violate the Voting Rights Act with its efforts to challenge the eligibility of over 364,000 Georgia voters before the 2021 Senate runoffs. We're seeing incremental wins with the election integrity. We're seeing incremental wins with the 2020 election. There's much more to come. This is merely another domino in what I believe will ultimately be a significant change in not only our elections, but in past elections, if you know what I mean. So that's all we have for today. Go to my store, that's mystore.com, enter in the discount code SAM, and get up to 80% off of all of your purchases. Please like, share, follow, and subscribe. And again, I would encourage you to go to my website, samshalhoub.com, and register there. And in the meantime, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.